Healing versus managing symptoms. What actually moves the needle? Welcome back to You're Not Crazy, You're Exhausted. I'm Tiffany Flaten, board certified nutritionist and founder of Rock Bottom Wellness. And today we are wrapping up our gut brain energy connection series with a conversation that might shift how you look at your health entirely. We are talking about the difference between managing symptoms and actually healing. Because if you've been trying to feel better for a while and you've made those changes, but you still don't feel like you are where you want to be, there's a good chance you've been stuck in symptom management and you don't even know it. Now, what are people actually doing to feel better? Let's start here. Most people are not doing nothing, right? They are trying, they're eating healthier, they're taking supplements, they're cutting out foods, they're trying to manage stress, maybe even exercising more. But the approach is often, what can I do to feel better right now? Versus what can I do for the long haul? And while it's understandable to want to fix things right away, it often leads to short-term improvement without long-term changes. I always say there are no quick fixes. I don't work with quick fixes. That will not get you to where you want to be for the long haul. So what does symptom management look like? It isn't wrong. Symptom management isn't wrong. We need to manage those symptoms sometimes because sometimes it's hard to live with them, but it's incomplete. It looks like taking something for bloating, using caffeine for energy, relying on supplements to boost your mood, removing foods without any understanding why they may be an issue, and constantly adjusting based on how you feel day to day. And again, these can be helpful temporarily, but they don't necessarily change what's happening underneath it all. What healing actually means is that first of all, it's very different. It's about addressing the underlying dysfunction, not just reducing the symptom. In that context of everything we've talked about in this series, that means looking at things like gut function, microbiome balance, digestion, inflammation, nutrient status, blood sugar regulation, and stress physiology. Because your symptoms are not random. They are signals of how these systems are functioning. Why this matters for your gut, brain, and energy, nobody really puts this together. I think people are starting to connect the dots, but let's bring this back to some of the other things we've been talking about earlier in these episodes with this series. If you've been feeling and dealing with fatigue, brain fog, mood changes, digestive issues, you can absolutely manage those symptoms. But if the gut is still imbalanced, if digestion is still compromised, if inflammation is still present, those symptoms will keep coming back in some form. This is why people feel like I've tried everything when really they've tried lots of things that helped temporarily, but they never got to the full picture. That keeps us stuck in a cycle. And here's a pattern I see all the time. Symptoms show up, something is used to reduce it, symptoms improve temporarily, root issue is still there, symptoms return, or it shifts into something else. And over time, this becomes very frustrating, super confusing, and it feels like your body is unpredictable. But it's not unpredictable. It's consistent. It's just not being addressed at the right level. So here are some signs that you're stuck in symptom management, and you might feel like this if you feel like you're always trying something new, things work for a short time, then they stop, you're managing multiple symptoms at once. Your energy, your mood, your digestion, it never fully stabilizes. You feel like you have to stay on top of all of the things constantly. That's not true. It's not really true resolution. That is just 100% management of it. And you know what? It's exhausting and it's defeating and it never sticks. It's hard to stick with that when you don't really get true symptom resolve. What actually moves the needle is a little bit more. It's it's more of an effective approach. So what does a more effective approach look like? It's less about doing more. It's about doing the things in the right order. So you need to start with those foundational symptoms: blood sugar, digestion, nutrient intake. You need to support the gut environment, not just symptoms, but the actual function. And you need to look at patterns over time, not just how you feel today. Having a reduction in your stress load is going to be critical for making major improvements with your gut health, not just the external stress, but that internal stress as well. Be consistent long enough for your body to respond. You cannot do something for a week or two, sometimes not even for a month or two, because your body needs time and consistency to correct itself. Your body is not broken. It's adapting to the input that it's getting from the things that you are doing mostly unknowingly. So, what we need to do is look at a more strategic way to approach your health. And I want to explain how I do this in my practice. You don't need 10 different solutions for 10 different symptoms. You need a clear understanding of what is driving them. When you address the gut function, the digestion, the microbial imbalance in your gut, inflammation, blood sugar, you often see improvements across the energy, mental clarity, mood, metabolism. And because this all happens because you're working at the root level. So how I'm working with people with my GI package is this. We do a huge intake where people give me all the information about their symptoms, their health history, any surgeries, any supplements, any medications. We go through all of that. They then take the test, the GI test, and then I work with a provider at the lab in order to put all the pieces together to get the best targeted and specific protocol for that specific individual. Nothing is a blanket approach here. Then we meet regularly to make sure that those strategies and protocols are put into place and are actually helping your symptoms. And we get resolution over time, depending on the person's strategy. We get that correction over time, and people feel better than they've ever felt in their entire life, especially when they follow the exact strategy. Now, if you've been listening to this series and thinking this actually explains what I've been dealing with, then the next step is not guessing. It's getting clear on what your body specifically needs. So if you are ready to dig a little bit deeper, this is exactly the work I do with clients, because once you stop chasing symptoms and then start addressing what's actually driving them, everything becomes more affected. Now, comment below, fill out the application form to see if we're a good fit to work together. And I would love to help you out. And I know I can help you feel so much better. Have an awesome day. Bye bye.